If you can hear me, you can just show with a sign of emoji or reaction to be sure that you can hear me and I'm audible. Okay, thank you, Loretta. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. So I'll be sharing my screen now. And we just get right into the session. Please confirm if you can see the slide on the screen. Someone can just start. I would love to get a feedback to be sure that you can hear that from the screen.
Your screen is not up yet.
Okay, it's not up yet. Okay, just give me a minute. Do you have permission to share? Can you please come and confirm you have permission to share? Grant access rather to. So,
Yes, your co-host already should be able to share.
okay. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to see why this is not working. Okay, let's do something. I don't know. Grant browser access to share and record. So let's do this because of time. We might likely I need to switch away from the MacBook to my Windows PC. I'm getting this problem to grant access, which I've actually checked before now. Just give me a minute to see if I can make that switch. Just confirm if you can hear me. Okay, so you can just hold on hold on the meeting for now, Boma. So let me just switch to a different PC. I'll join on a different device now.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so how about now? Can you see my screen?
Okay, yes, your screen is up now.
Okay, well, those are the technicalities where you get to use a MacBook. Okay, apologies for that, everyone. Okay, we're going to just dive into the session, Personal Excellence Program. This is the first session on etiquette, poise, and decorum. And we'll be focusing on 3 different aspects in the space of 40 minutes thereabouts. Then we'll see if we can get some interaction with the audience. Thank you for that one invitation once again. So quickly, so looking at the mode overview, if you have any question, you can drop it on the chat. I believe the host will be kind enough to so I can pick it from there. So we just make sure we have like the distinct understanding of why we're focusing on this session, these key 3 pillars. We're looking at the foundation for etiquette, poise, and decorum. So we're also looking at the value and the distinctions, that's the benefits. We look at it cross with manners and how we link all this together. We'll also be focusing on types of etiquette, what social etiquette is, what business etiquette is, what net etiquette is. In the same vein, we'll be looking at social and workplace, communication and meetings, and professionalism and online. So, what's in the era of social media where everything needs to come to the social media space? What are the things that we need to know? So, we'll be focusing on these six modules. Maybe I have a question before we get to start. You can as well just unmute yourself, introduce yourself, just tell us your name and just say if you have an answer. So we looking back, we say we're looking at etiquette in itself. Who has heard of the word etiquette before, and what does it mean to you? Maybe I'll start with that. Anybody? Anybody? Etiquette, what does it mean to you? Is anybody trying to
Um,
answer that?
can you hear me? Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Okay. This is Emmanuel.
Okay, hi
Emmanuel,
Emmanuel.
I'm good, and you?
I'm very well too, thank you.
Okay. So for me, etiquette is a sum of how I behave, how I compose myself when I'm in a public space or where I'm in an environment that has other people, a third party. Think that's how I can put it now, how I compose myself, how I behave when I'm in a public space, a social gathering, or a group of people. Think that's how I can put it.
Okay, Emmanuel, that makes a lot of sense. How you tend to behave in a public space, meeting people. Okay, so how would we now marry that to why is there a need for everyone to understand etiquette and decorum? I think from Emmanuel's answer, we can deduce that there is a need for you and I as an individual to understand that when we're speaking about etiquette and decorum, it's not really about us. Why am I saying this? It's more of a consideration towards the other person because we are all social beings. And one of the things I would like you to take away from today's session is that you are important, but I can tell you that the other person is as important as you are. There is this question one of my mentors asked one time, which I will ask but will answer at the same time, is the way the world is right now, if anybody was to give you two options to say, own everything, you have access to all the vaults, you have access to every lock codes, you have access to the airports, you have access to the best hotels. I mean, everything that the world has, you have access to everything. But the condition is that everybody will leave planet Earth for you. So you'll be the only one to have access. So unlimited money, resource, or you will leave things the way they are now. If I may ask, which option would you go for? The first option is everybody leaves, but you have access to everything. Nothing is hidden from you. You can go into any mall, can go into any airport, you just have access to everything that we have. Or you just allow things to be the way it is at the moment. So what do you think will you go for? Can anybody just say option A or option B? You can drop a chat. Option A, option B. Let me just see. Do we have anybody? Option A or option B? Option B. Okay, option B. Fantastic. Emmanuel, fantastic. Now, first option A with people, please. Okay, okay. Now that means we've gotten the idea. Because if anybody decides to go for option A, the power supply that we enjoy in a matter of minutes it will shut down. The food store in different shopping mall that has been refrigerated, that's why people can go in and buy, everything will shut down in a matter of seconds. The live TV that we see, the programs we watch, people are behind all these things. That should tell you that if you focus on yourself alone and you don't understand how to deal with people in an acceptable way, just the way Emmanuel mentioned it, you would not go that far. So, so why is it important? We say understanding etiquette and decorum is essential for everyone because we know that it promotes respectful, effective, and harmonious word interaction, both personal and professional setting. So let's just move on quickly. So the case of etiquette now, why does it matter? You can see on the screen that there are 4 different aspects that makes it the true reason why etiquette matters. It put others at ease, meaning if I need to interact with me, for example, I am so sure because I know me understands etiquette or me understand respectful interaction, I can always reach out to him, knowing well that I will not feel less of a human, I will not feel disrespected, all because I know me knows these social codes that regulate expected attitude. At the same time, it the case of etiquette, why it's so important, it builds relationship. We, like I mentioned earlier, God made us a relational being. He purposefully makes sure that every human being will interact with each other. Now, the problem which we've identified where etiquette is coming to solve and decorum, and which we want you to also understand, is that meeting people is not enough. Showing up in your place of work is not enough. There is a need for you to understand that there are acceptable ways to relate with people. There are social cues, there are codes that are just littered everywhere. Sadly enough, we don't get to learn this in schools. They don't really teach all this. They focus on technical skills. There is a research out there by Harvard University, seconded by Stratford. I'll give you the summary of the research. Harvard believes that if you go to Harvard University, is one of the top Ivy League universities in the world, where people spend millions of naira, thousands of dollars to attend. They did the research like in the early 2000s. The result now says, which is very shocking, that 85% of a man's success now, I mean, 85% of my success in life, for every one of you that are on the call, 85% of your success in life, guess what Harvard says is tied to? Harvard says it ties to your social skills. While the remaining 15% make up a perfect 100% is tied to technical skills. Let me break it down in simple English. What that means is that if you really want to succeed in this age and time, going to school is fine, but the possibility of you succeeding with whatever it is you learned in school is 15%. And if you are following the trends and you're looking at the algorithms, the way things are going, you will understand that it's true. Because gone are those days where first class is like a scarce commodity. Many of you understand what I'm saying. But now you see people go to school in a department, in a faculty, you see 5, 10 first class students because the information is now out there for learners. So to bag a first class now, it's more like it's easy peasy. What does that tell you? That if you are still bragging with your technical knowledge, what you study in school, you will not go far in this age and time because there are some things that have outweigh technical skills, which is the 85%, which is the social skills, which is the basic, the understanding of etiquette and social codes and decorum. I'll give a story of a friend of mine that I not really a friend, but a friend of ours at Etiquette and Poise. The the guy finished from uni like first class student. He put in for he applied for a particular multinational company here in Lagos. He did fantastic in the aptitude test. He was just perfect. Then they called him up for an interview to meet with the board. So it was somewhere on the island. So he got there. He went straight to the front desk. The lady he made the ladies on site him. He said, "Oh, Mr. Jackson, we're already expecting you. Kindly wait on the second floor in the waiting area. Someone will be meeting with you. Confirm you can hear me, please, so that I'm sure my sound is still fine. Just a reaction will be okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
hearing you.
okay, thank you." So immediately Jackson got into the waiting area. according from what we learned, that he got there, he sat down, then after like 10 minutes they called him to like the fourth floor. So he said immediately he entered into the boardroom or the meeting room, as it case might be. He said he knew he lost the job. That might sound very strange to us, right? That how do you enter into a place and you know you lost the job? Apparently, the waiting room he went, where he sat down, he said he now realized that the head of the committee that he came to meet, he met the man there. But these things, people, some couple of millennials, like how we've been taught that if you're going for an interview, don't press your phone, just sit down, comport yourself. So all he did was to obey those aptitude. Shall I say they are okay, but they are not really. It doesn't really suffice. He said when he got there, he sat down, he picked one of the magazine he was reading, and they it was like he could get there was a speaker. So he met the man there, but no single interaction of greeting happened between Jackson and this man. And so immediately he got there, he just felt that he messed up. That's to tell you how etiquette, why it's very important. Moving on. These are customary codes of polite conduct that society expects of its members. You can see here it says proper greeting. I could even give you my own if that might look like it was an essay. I remember my first time of flying to Benin. We had a training, and I was not too vast with the fact that there was boat already in Benin because I spent most of my life in Lagos, obviously. So mainly we touched down, we're exiting the terminal. We saw people just standing there, were shouting taxi, taxi, taxi. So myself and my other team members, so we are like, okay, how do we get to this hotel from here? The guys were just shouting taxi, taxi, are you going to taxi, taxi? Then one guy just walked up to us and just said, oh, good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am. I have a taxi for you. Where would you like to go? So immediately said, good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am. We responded, good morning. Because we responded, he had our attention immediately. Then he could pitch the next thing that I have a taxi for you. I'm saying all it took that man to win that sale among others was just, oh, good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am. I'm responding, oh, good morning, sir. Then a conversation. Let me also say this to you, why greeting is very important. Is that when you greet, it is a social understanding that you control the conversation. Whoever greets controls the tone of the conversation. That's to tell you how important greeting is. As simple as saying thank you, appropriate dress, being punctual, it's very key. And there's a need for us to have an understanding of this code. Looking at appropriate dress, dressing is normal. People dress. But you know that under etiquette, we say it's normal for people to dress, put on your shoe and put on socks, which is fine. Do you know that even etiquette will even tell you the kind of socks that you are meant to put on? I mean, don't think you've done the old justice to, oh, I'm dressed, I want the jacket, want the shirt, put on my trousers, I'm putting on the socks and my shoe. Etiquette will even tell you, because when you get to the place of those that know these codes and you dress and you are there, because you miss out on these simple cues, they know you don't belong there. If time permits, maybe we'll look at all those little codes. Now, how do we now look at the second pillar, which is poise? That is, you're calm, you are confident, there's a way you carry yourself. There are two sides to poise, the inner calm and the outward grace. Now, you see the inner calmness. Research has it that calmness most times comes from knowledge. How many of you have been in that place whereby you go into an examination or and you're not fretting. You have this calmness in you that no matter what they bring up, you will do well. How many of you have been in that scenario before? Just react so I can be sure that you prepared so well. Anybody? I believe we've all had interaction with exams once upon a time. Okay, so I have Emmanuel. That calmness that you have is not because you know what the question will be, but because you know you've studied well enough. And guess what? Something that changed along the way. When you now tend to now see the questions, it now looks like, oh, this question looks off from what I've prepared. Then you get rattled a little inside. That's to tell you that being a person of poise has some basic knowledge that when that calmness, that confidence is there, that composure is there, it shows in their outward grace. Let me give you a practical example. If you're good at using chopsticks, guess what will happen? If somebody says, "Oh, there's a need for you to have a meeting with, let's say a Chinese partner," and you go to a Chinese restaurant, you will just go there, you'll be fine, anticipating that if they serve with chopsticks, you will be able to eat with it. So you would go there with a lot of self-assuredness. This your presence will be on point. But imagine somebody that cannot use the chopsticks and is being told that, oh, you be the one to meet with this Chinese partner, you're meeting at this Chinese restaurant for lunch. When you go there, it will show in your courage that at this point of eating, I just hope they don't. It's just there. So when we say when we are saying be a person of poise, we're saying there are some self level of knowledge that as an individual you must know them. You must know how important greeting is. You must know how important dressing is. These are so subtle that people miss it. That they focus on the big, like I said, Harvard is saying that if anybody was to succeed in this grace and time, 85% chance of you succeeding in a professional business world is on social skills. So what does poise look like? I've mentioned earlier on this slide, and it says what? Confidence. Believe in your ability and your worth. And I put a rider to that. The only way you can be confident is if you know these social codes. You know you cannot. There's something called FOPA. FOPA is more like we say it's opposite of etiquette. Like you lack social understanding. So when you know all these social codes, I can guarantee you that confidence is the next thing. Also, self-awareness, meaning how do I get to this point? Or what brought me to this point? Or how would I get myself to the next point? You are self-aware. You're not stumbling or walking by, how do I put it, try and error. Now there's something called tact and diplomacy, that is saying the hard things with grace. If you are here, maybe you have subordinates or you have the ability to fire someone. A person of grace and someone that is very tacky, in the way they will fire their staff, you will see it in them. For example, I can say to somebody, let's say I have let's say I have a driver now that I've reportedly told him, you're often too you come here to pick me too late. And I've given him warning several times. Maybe on the final draw, I could just say, Mr. Samson, I know I've had this conversation with you, and it seems you're not making any changes. Can you let me have the key? Your service is no longer needed. And if I do require your service, I'll get back to you. But for now, that'll be all. I already fired Mr. Sampson. Let me have the key. Your service is no longer needed. When I need you, private I need you, I will call you. But someone that is very tacky, that does not have grace, they come and say, Mr. Sampson, you're late again. You are fired. By the time you stay 3 months and you don't eat, you will know that you're not supposed to play with your work. Who tells you that the person will stay 3 months without eating? Because you lack grace. So both parties already fired the person, but Mr. Sampson will remember one person, that even though I lost my job, it didn't make me feel less of a human being. I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say with that. Now, flexibility is also part of it. Adapting calmly as things change, it's very key. As you undergo this transformation as an individual, one thing you should have at the back of your mind is that things will always change. And if you cannot adapt, the the workforce now, and now has this dynamics of, you have the we already have Gen Alphas that are already employed because they have the knowledge of these tech skills. They are going to school, but they work remotely and they join stand-ups, they join meetings. And you are a millennial. If you don't know how to relate to that person in an acceptable way, and you can't adapt to the change, that everybody in your workspace will not be in the same age bracket with you. What will happen is that what you'll be stepping on people's toes. You would take the Gen Z, you would take them on serious because there's a way they believe they need to do things. Because the goal for you as a millennial is that first you must understand that the workplace dynamics have changed. So there's a way you need to relate with people in those different generations, and there's an acceptable way. All you need to do is to find it. Be flexible, graciousness, being considerate, presence, being composed and fully engaged. When you are in a place, let it be that you are there. Let it be that when you are in a place, people know that this person is there. So let's move on quickly because of time. We'll be looking at decorum. Why do we, as the third pillar, don't forget the first one we said etiquette, set of rules that guides the way we behave in an acceptable manner. There are customary codes. I made mention of how greeting is key. Do you know on a syllabus of finishing school, greeting alone can go about 4 hours. Like they would train you on why greeting is very key. I gave you two scenarios, which you know is relatable. Somebody got into a place, his technical skill was on point, first class student, aced the aptitude test, but he still lost the job because the man felt, who comes into a place? Let me ask a question, and I want somebody to answer before I move to this place. When you get into a place, this is my question now. Who greet first? The person you met in the space, or you that are walking into the space? Let's take that quickly because of time. Anybody?
You that are walking into the space.
Your name, please.
I didn't tell nobody.
Okay, you said you that are walking into the space. Are they what? Are they Nika, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. So any other person? Any other response?
This is Emmanuel. Yes, I totally agree. The person walking in should be the first to greet.
Okay.
I'll be the first to greet the first me.
Let me now try this rationale. Adenike, can you put a Y? Can you just try? Just buttress your point further.
Okay, so the person I'm meeting at the space is already in there. And so me walking into the space means that courtesy demands that I should greet the person because I'm going into the person's space.
Okay, fantastic. Emmanuel, I believe you want to say the same thing, right?
Yes.
That's the manner. Is somebody else saying something else? Okay, so can somebody open? Okay, so someone's mic is muted. Can somebody help me mute the mic, please, of the person that is on? Okay. Now, Adenike and Emmanuel, I would say on the scale of manners, you're 100% correct. On the scale of etiquette will tell you that whoever understands social codes and understand the ability of controlling conversation will greet first. How do I mean? We did a social experiment at a particular wedding to tell you what greeting can do. Some people were sitting on the high table, so we said, okay, how can we take these people from the high table to the next seat behind them? So we tried two things. Somebody should go and say, oh, can you please stand up? Come and sit down here. The person went, so, can you please stand up? This place is for somebody else. Come and sit down. They didn't really listen. One woman telling that, I don't understand. What do you mean by this? Not we're supposed to sit. And another person went, not the same place, on a different social experiment too. And the lady just said, oh, good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please stand up? We reserve this place for some people. Can you please come and sit at this place? The fact that the person greeted first, it was able to get their attention. But what am I saying? In the space of entering to a place, if you want to control a conversation, you would be the first to greet. Let me now put it to practical tips that many people don't know. Do you know if you walk into big organizations, The front desk person, they don't wait for you to greet them. They will always attack you with the greet first. Oh, good morning, welcome to this. Not because they are trying to show that they are polite in the organization. It's because if I go into a place and I greet you first, once you greet, if I greet you, for example, at NK, you can't speak immediately. You'll be conditioned to respond to me, and you'll be conditioned to listen to the next thing I have to say. Practical, put it in practice. Oh, NK, good morning. How are you doing today? Oh, good morning, Dari. I'm fine. How about you? I'm well and good. You will not talk again. You want to listen to the next thing I have to say. So if you want to control a conversation, anybody that is etiquette savvy can initiate a conversation. Anybody can. In a scale of manners, you can say yes, whoever is coming to a space can greet. But I can tell you that people that understand these social codes initiate greeting regardless of whoever is coming in or whoever is going out. That's just like a pattern code. People know these things. Some corporations they have imbibed this in their character that when you go, they greet you. By the time they greet you, they already ruffled you. You don't even know what you want to do. You'll be listening to them. They'll be the one controlling the conversation. Now, focusing on decorum as a third foundation here, this means that people consider correct, calm, and polite and respectable, expected, full of dignity, the acceptable conduct in a place. It is correct. It is not loud. When you say someone is full of decorum, their understanding of the environment is correct. Their behavior is not loud, it's calm. They are polite and they're respectable. Now, I was treated with decorum. This is more like a conversation, a sentence, meaning that this person was treated with in a correct way. They were calm about it. They still respect him. If for people that are well traveled, there's this saying that Africans use a lot when they travel. Like the white will have used sir to speak with you until you land in jail. Can you, can you please get out of the car, sir? Can you please put your hand behind, sir? We're reading your rights now, sir. You're under arrest, sir. They will have used the politeness. They will have used it to complete all the whole process. Before you know it, you're already behind bars because it's just an acceptable code whereby you can do what is right in a wrong way, and you can do what is right in the correct way. So that's where decorum comes into play. But let's look at other benefits across these three pillars. We said etiquette, it's about social codes. Treat others appropriately in any context. You read the cues and put people at ease. You foster meaningful relationship. We said for poise, you stay calm, you're confident, you draw on self-belief and self-worth, you hold steady under what pressure. And I mentioned that a lady of poise is a lady that knows. If you don't know what is expected of you in a social event, you can't be confident. If they say, oh, it's a black tie event, and you don't know what a black tie event, how you're supposed to dress, when you go there, you can show off poise on the wrong way because people will know that how come you come to a black tie event dressed this way? When you say decorum, express thought with courtesy, you might know how to do the right thing, but you might not know the correct way to do it. So this, you can see that they're just tiny lines that it's not enough to know what to do. Decorum will tell you how to do it the right way. It's not enough to show confidence or poise. Poise it must come from a place of knowledge. It's not enough to meet with people. Etiquette will tell you the appropriate way to meet with people. So etiquette with decorum. How do we marry this together? Etiquette is like a subset of decorum. That is, we can say we want to put decorum on a wider range, while etiquette is specific. For example, when we say dining etiquette, I believe we'll get that in part of the slide. Just because of time, let's move on quickly. So etiquette versus manners. How do we marry the two together? The reason why we are talking about this etiquette, decorum, poise, is that we are telling you that as a future leader, or it's telling me like as an individual, showing up is not enough. Let me repeat. You working in a place, you have people working for you, you have your business, you go to functions, you meet people. This training is telling you that showing up is not enough, that there are still some things you must add to showing up, which is where this etiquette comes into play, decorum comes into play, poise come into play. So in nature, we say manners is inner attitude of respect. We say for in nature, etiquette is outward conventional rules. Let me ask a question, which I know we should know by now. Let's say underdressing, which is outward, simple etiquette, basic etiquette. What determines the socks a gentleman should wear in a business environment? What determines the color of the socks a gentleman should wear? Anybody? Anybody?
I'm not a guy, but I think the color of the shirt.
The color of the shirt. Okay. Any other person? Zoe, are you
Um,
here? Okay, go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You were about saying something.
This is Emmanuel.
Yes, Emmanuel. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I think, but for things changing recently, it was supposed to, I might be wrong, your color of your trouser.
The color of the trouser. Mm. We have color of the
All right.
shirt. Okay, go ahead, please.
All right. My name is Emmanuel Peter,
Okay,
speaking from Cameroon now.
okay,
The color of the socks you're supposed to wear is if you are wearing suit, depending if you're wearing suit, the
okay,
inner suit that reflects the color of whatever you are wearing inside your tie should directly reflect what you're putting on the socks, and the color of the shoe should not alter the color of the socks you're wearing.
okay. Let's put it. Let me get if I'm correct. Were you referring to the tie? Like the color of the tie should be like the color of the socks.
I was saying the color of the socks should reflect what you're wearing inside. If you are wearing suits,
Okay,
and the color should not also alter the color of your tie and the color of your shoe you're wearing.
okay, okay. Yes, okay. I get you. Now, we've gotten two similar answers and one at the same time. Now, in etiquette, they will tell you that the color of a man's socks for a professional business meeting should be the color of his trouser into his shoes, meaning you're putting on a black suit, like the complete suit is black, the trouser is black, the color of your socks will become what? Automatically become black. You're putting on gray, the color becomes a gray socks. So wearing socks is not just it. You have to look at you have to match it with the color of the trouser continues into the shoe. Now, people still wear socks. Outward conventional rules. They will tell you that even if you wear the right socks, the right color, there's not how you sit as a gentleman. Whatever makes the socks not long enough for your hair or your legs to be seen, the skin of your leg, then you're not properly dressed, or you don't know the etiquette rule around it. So to tell you that they're just silver linings. Values in terms of or sources for manners is values and upbringing. Etiquette is society and its context. It varies across different culture. So what is acceptable in my culture might not be acceptable in your own culture. But what etiquette does, etiquette will find the balance between both culture. Meaning that someone that is should I say a gentleman of panache that is, let's say for example, is a Nigerian, would understand that if I go to Japan, for example, where handshake is not the order of the day, I should not be the one initiating handshake because I have learned about the social codes for them in that country. And it also doesn't mean that if I, as a Nigerian, I go into I have a meeting with let's say a Chinese person, I'm not also being forced to eat with chopsticks, but I will become more socially vast if I can, and they'll be more at ease with me because I've looked at the society and the context and I've applied the etiquette that aligns at that moment. So the scope also is how we treat people for manners, and for etiquette is how we behave in a setting. Let's move on quickly because of time. So etiquette has to do with social, business, and net etiquette, which we've been talking about the different types. Social is family, friends, colleague, and strangers. There's a way you behave within your family that you cannot import it to the business setting. There's a way you will chat with your colleague on Instagram, for example, that you cannot chat with a client on Instagram. You can see that it's now become context based. There's a way you behave in your office that necessarily is not needed when you come into the midst of your friends. All this makes you what someone that is what socially smart. So some social etiquette that is essential: use manners, use people's name. Name is everyone's most prized words. So what this means is that if you're on this call, let it be known that you can see earlier when Adenike was speaking, I was trying to make sure I get to know her name. Because when we're able to relate with people with their name, it gives them this sense of belonging. But guess what? It's also context based. Many people that have worked in um the the, the white collar job, or as it's where work in the bank, work in some of these corporate organizations where a first name is a thing. You also need to understand the boundaries, because I've read of a particular young man that was working in FCMB. Then I think he was supposed to send an email to one of the group heads, and this woman that she's supposed to write email to, she's way older. She's one of like the founding friends of Lade Balogun, like the main person with FCMB. And because of this name first thing, and this young chap now just said, um, hello, Shade. And when Shade was reading me, I was like, me, Shade, who is this person? Who is his father in this Lagos that he has the right to just address me that way? Yes, first name thing is a thing, but you also know where to draw the line. But one thing you will not do is that begin to ramble on people's name. Be genuinely interested in another social codes. How much I've spoken with people that after a while, maybe for like 20 minutes, you thought they were paying attention. All of a sudden, they're not paying attention. And they're like, what are you saying? It's very key. Say hello and thank you. Social codes. Be gracious and be on time. Very key. Listen or put your phones away when you're talking to people, especially people that go on dates. Dates nowadays has become something else. People go on dates to people interested in each other, and almost of the time they're on their phones. Avoid sarcasm and oversharing. Very key. Things you need to know for professional settings. External stakeholders. You need to know there's a behavioral way to behave with them. Co-workers and team. There's a certain way. Behavior. There's better behavior. Meetings there is. Email and telephone there is. Dress code there is. For example, stakeholders. Now, let me even ask a question while I just rush through the mini slide. I am I'm an employee at organization A. Adenike is my boss. She's the CEO. Then Emmanuel is our important investor. Now Emmanuel comes to our office. How do you think this is an external stakeholder? How do you think I'm supposed to introduce Adenike, who is my CEO, and Emmanuel, who is our investor? Who can try to see that behavior expected behavior? How do you do that? How do you do that greeting? Anybody? Now we are at the meeting point now. I'm a worker. Adenike is the CEO. Emmanuel is our big investor. Now they have a meeting. Now Emmanuel is coming in with me, and I'm taking him to meet Adenike, who is my CEO. How do I introduce them there? Who can try? Or who should I
Okay, so
introduce first?
can I ask a question? Is
Yes.
the investor meeting with the CEO for the first time, or have they been a
No,
proud
for the first time. For
meeting
the first time. For the first
for the
time.
first time? Okay, so I would say if you are meeting that's the CEO and yourself are meeting the investor for the first time, you'd
Okay.
introduce the CEO to the investor
Okay.
and
So
then
how would
introduce
it go?
the investor. Good afternoon, sir. How do I say it? Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Just try.
Can I come in?
Good
Can
afternoon,
I
sir.
come
Please,
in?
I'd like
Just
to.
hold on.
Okay,
No, hold on. Just let that wrap up. You will come in. Go ahead.
okay. Let's say afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Please, this is Mrs. Whoever, whatever.
Miss
This is
Adenike.
Robinson. No, that's you. Okay, Adenike. Okay, this is Mrs. Adenike, the CEO of a company. Blah blah blah. Just a little bit about her, and
Then
then you introduce the investor as well.
okay. Let me edit up. You were about to say something. Go ahead, sir. Someone was about I didn't see the name earlier because of my screen. You were about saying something. We are coming in.
It's me.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I take the investor, Mr. Emmanuel, to the CEO, which is Mrs. Adenike. And when I
Okay.
get to the door, I will greet the CEO. Good afternoon, Madam CEO, ma. I brought a very important person to you today, introducing to you Mr. Emmanuel, who is a big investor in this company. And Mr. Emmanuel, this is the CEO, Mrs. Adenike. It will be a pleasure to meet her. Thank you very much.
Okay, fantastic. Let me just put it in the simplest form. You always introduce the person of the lower rank to the person of the higher rank. What am I trying to say? If you are going to talk about somebody, make sure you are talking about the person that is important. You are talking about that person to the person that is lower. But guess what? You would mention the lower person and you'll be talking about the higher person. What does that mean? Just the way you said it. Mr. Adenike is investor is key. So you'll be saying, oh, Mr. Adenike, this is Mr. Emmanuel, is this group head of XYZ Investment Limited. Then you now say, oh, Mr. This person, this is my CEO. So you can see I was talking about the investor first, but I acknowledge my CEO first. Let me put it in a different context. You have your line manager and you have your like a customer. And the customer is coming to, let's say, probably to complain, and you've been mediating. I will say, oh, Mr. Tosin, this is the customer, Mrs. This one that I mentioned that bought this and I needed help with this. So I will first acknowledge my boss first, but I'm not going to introduce my boss to my. I will not be saying, oh, Mr. Denike. I will not be saying, Mr. Emmanuel. This is Mr. Denike, my CEO, is the CEO of this. So no, you would first acknowledge the person of the lower rank by mentioning their name, but you'll be introducing the other person higher rank to that lower person. I hope you get that. If you do, maybe if not, we will always have a time to come back to see this. So there are just ways, that expected behaviors within stakeholders, within co-workers and team. When you're having meeting, email, dress code, we just try to see if we can pitch on. So quick business tip: you need to dress for success. There's a standard etiquette rule that you need to dress to match where you're going, or you dress above where you're going. Anywhere, if you are going to go and buy something, I'm saying to you now, on maybe at a shopping mall on your street, is that you dress to match that I am going out to buy something, or you dress more than you're going to go and buy something. Never underdress. I mean, at no time for business environment, never underdress. Is that you dress for the position you are now, or you dress for the position you're admiring. Be on time, respect everyone. We've talked about what the use of mobile phones, be friendly, be generous, give credit when people do something in a team. It was someone's idea. When you are presenting the report, let it be known that, oh, we executed this idea based off what this XYZ told us, and we're able to make this impact. give credit to people. Don't just say, oh, we did this. Mention names. Give firm handshake. People can tell your personality by handshake. If it's a physical meeting, I can tell many people's personality just by shaking them. I will know whether you are a strong-willed person, whether you are a timid person, whether you are a bold. People do that just by handshake. Avoid gossip. Now, this on etiquette, business etiquette. This is what office gossip is. If A offends me and I tell B, if B does not have the capacity to call A to correction, I have gossiped. Meaning, if A and B are my co-workers, we are on the same line. If I tell B I'm gossiping what A did to me, the only person that should hear my grievance is somebody that can correct A. So you understand what business gossip is, and leave it at that. So reason why we need business etiquette. It builds strong relationship, promotes teamwork, increase productivity, enhance credibility. People take you as a credible person, improves communication, customer satisfaction. We all know all this is why we need business etiquette. Now, workplace etiquette, part of the things we've mentioned, we say here that you acknowledge everyone, learn to smile. How are you? It's just key. There's this old video that I've circulated, and many of us have watched, of a particular man that always greet the security man at the gate. At one particular time, the security man know that this person greeted me when he was coming in. But when it was closing hour, he didn't hear that man, the person greet. He had to now go in to start looking for the man, and fortunately for the help, the man was locked inside. Unfortunately for him, was locked inside the code room, and the secretary was able to find him because he knows that there's a man that always come and always greets me. He acknowledged people. So share clean space. No, don't be the one that you have an open office, you mess up your space and other people's space. Respect shared items, very key. Active listening, respect people's time. People, not everybody that listens, so it's very key you understand that active listening is a skill. That's why they call it listening skills. Very, very key. For meal etiquette, napkins on the lap once you sit. Don't use it as a beep. You don't put on it's napkin meant to be on the lap. Wait for all before you start eating. You come as a group, or you go you have a meeting with a client. They've taken your order. They bring your food first. Wait for the other person's order to come before you start eating. Mouth closed when chewing. You pass from left to right. You don't pass from right to left. Your and there's a rule around it, but because of time, I'm not able to just focus on all that. Folding napkins from left to be on the left on the plate. That's what we call table setting and utensil placement. So writing down, phone communication. Phone, mind your volume on the phone. Don't be too loud, don't be too soft. When you're not speaking, mute yourself. For email, reply 1 day if it's internal, external 3 days. Default to reply all. No, it's best for you to default to reply, not to reply all, because people might not need to hear it. So if you say reply all, you tend to copy people that are not meant to be. Proofread before you hit the word send. And now that there's a lot of feature with, you can schedule the time your email will go, so you can take your time to look at it. Once I don't leave it, you might not need to enter once you're satisfied. In person, when you're in person, hold eye contact, match the other person's volume, show interest on the topic. Now, for professionalism, keywords: honor commitment, big or small. I believe that honor commitment small, because if you can't do small, you can't do big. That's my take. Show up on time, stay calm, adapt plans without making it false. Things will change. Don't be rigid with change. Nobody should be rigid with change. We should not be, actually. So there's diplomacy. There's a way you would talk to people that they will get the message. For example, now you have a budget, and maybe you've already spent above the budget. You don't come say, we we've run above the budget. There are some diplomatic phrases you can use. Oh, we're already running slight above the budget. There are diplomatic phrases you can use to pass informations out without being crude about it. Feedback is very good, especially constructive feedbacks. You can use that to improve on yourself. So for meeting in person, you test your equipment like all this one we've done before, and I did mine as well, but I had a plan B because I know things happen with meetings, so that's why I was able to quickly switch. Follow a clear and shared agenda. I'm sure we are familiar with what the meeting will be, either in person or virtually. Also, you don't interrupt, ask the right time to speak, watch your body language. For virtual meetings, we understand that you look into the camera, mute or you silence for interruption. All these are normal meeting that we are used to. Invite remote voices to speak. There's a way you don't just allow people just mute themselves to speak. So how do we focus on net etiquette? Emails. We know I talked about the young man that could not deduce the context of first name based interaction and speaking to someone that is way older and is even like it's more like someone that is like more like a senior person in that field. For one too many forums like social and mail listing, for a forum you stay respectful and on topic, avoid cross posting or double posting. When someone has already posted something, you don't need to come back to say, "Oh, I want to be the one to post it." So these are just simple net etiquette. For micro bloggings, no insult, racism, sexism, no stalking. So find out, we look at.
Sorry, Mr. Dario, we have 2 minutes to end this session as the other
Okay,
trainers.
yes, so I'm on the last slide. Okay, so key takeaway is signal respect, be consistent, match the context, like I said, adopt to different codes, and we need to know that we are all humans. So be human first when treating others. So treat others what in an acceptable way. There's supposed to be a video to watch, but I'm sure this will be shared for people to watch in a time lesser than now. Thank you very much for having me. If there's any question, we'll take in less 1 minute. If not, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dario. That was really wonderful. If you have any questions, we have about 1 minute for Mr. Dario to take questions. So please, if you have any questions, we can allow, let's see, I think we can take 2 questions. Let's take 2 questions real quick.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Once again, I just want to quickly ask, in a situation where you have two people, an older person and a younger person, let's say they are both males, for instance, who is expected to give the first handshake? Is it the older person or the younger person?
Okay. Should I respond to that now, or should I take the two so that because of time? Is there another question coming up?
Yeah, let's take the other one. Please, if you have any, I think we have one on the group which says, what is the proper way to end a professional email? So those 2 questions, and we are good to go for the next session.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Let me take the latter. For proper way. Now there are what we call hierarchy terminologies. There is a way you're expected to respond to an email. Let's say if you are receiving an email from a subordinate, well, we have the kind regards, which is like what we have normal. So, but for you as someone that is of a higher hierarchy, you could just say after done, just because it's a communication, a business work mail, there's always need for you to open more communication. So you can use something like it's just new things that is happening that people use speak soon. We have the kind regards there, as simple as that. If it's more like it's not too business like that, some lesser ending annotations they can use, or you can even have like a default one that is there. So even once you send your email, best wishes, they're a lot. So but it just depends on who it to which you are trying to what respond to. Now for the first one, two male, one is older, one is younger. Because we didn't have time to go further, for business etiquette, the hierarchy initiates the handshake, meaning you as a younger person, you don't put your hand to shake your superiors. They initiate the handshake and you take. That is one. Now, in terms of age, that is social. We give preference to the aged, like the one that the older person. So you have two man, one is 65, one is 40. The 65 is meant to initiate the handshake. Don't say because you're etiquette savvy and you know handshake is a thing, you don't go shaking an elderly person. So that's on social skills. But on business wise, even if the 60 years old is of a lower rank to the 40, the 40 can initiate an handshake and the 60 must take, because you are in the business world, the hierarchy initiates the handshake. So if let's say I'm a subordinate now and I'm just 30 years and my senior, my line manager is 25, I don't have the right to initiate handshake because I feel like I'm older. They would have to initiate handshake for me to take, if that answers it.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Dari. That was really wonderful. Please let's appreciate Mr. Dari in the chat box. Our reactions. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. Thank you so much. Thank you.